meeting to order. Jay Correa is normally the chair running the meeting. He is not here, so I'm doing the best to stand in. I'll do a roll call starting off.
Deborah Mendel.
Eileen Leon.
Brock Alexander.
James Motwood.
Russell Ohms.
So that's 5 members, 9
We're now, we have lost half, so we are 8 members.
8-member board. So let's move into the agenda.
7 members. Oh, we have a quorum on that.
Yeah.
We'll check.
Call meeting to order. Agenda review. We'll just go into.
Possibly since I see that property owner Mark Morais is here and he has a restaurant and works in the evening, maybe we could move one of our items that I'm sure he's here for, which is the delinquent assessments. Maybe we could
No, I'm fine. I got all the time in the world.
You have
All
time
right.
tonight?
Yep.
Fine. Wonderful. Thanks, Mark.
So we will just continue with the way the agenda is. We'll go into closed session with legal counsel. And so it's 6:36. We'll move back to session. We're returning after closed session at 7:25. We've received a legal update and information with concerns to the lawsuit with Esch. And that is all. No actions taken. That's all there is to report. We can take public comments on this. I didn't get the paper. Who signed up? Why you just want to, Martha?
I signed, but I'd like to just sit and absorb more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Martha, would you like to?
Yes, I would. I'd just like to make note that this morning when I came to review the posted agenda, it didn't have anything about a closed session on it. And so it's probably a violation of Brown Act.
Next, thank you. Anybody else? All right. Without further discussion, we'll move to approval of minutes. 8th, 2015.
To approve the minutes as written.
I'll second that motion.
So we got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right. Moving on to treasurer's report.
Unfortunately, Martha, I'm speaking. That unfortunately our accountant didn't get back to me today with the current balance, so we have to kind of extrapolate that from what we have here. So, let's see, we had a total income at this point from January to May, holding things over of $18,644.70. But we have a net income down here on the bottom of $9,568.52. The balance sheet on the next one over, we currently have a total liabilities and equity of $30,979.47. And finally, on the aging summary for the assessments, because our meeting is held before the 15th of the month, it's not entirely accurate to what has been paid, and there are still outstanding assessments that hopefully will be coming in at that point. That's currently where we stand on things. I will be addressing the the follow-up on the liens and the late assessments under the old business here. So, go.
James, I also included in the
Oh, yes.
packet the letter you sent regarding the late fee that the board, agreed with when we had our last meeting. That we sent out to the property owners. So that's also on the back of James's bookkeeping statements.
All right. And since we have a few property owners here, I really, again, just want to emphasize, thank you for being a good neighbor, good property owner, for making your payments on time. It is very helpful. It creates a fair playing field for all of us here who for repairs, for emergencies that come up, a tree falls, and it falls on two neighbors' properties. One is paying for it, their assessment, the other is not, but in a sense, the one who's not is getting a free tree removal, which isn't fair. So thank you for those of you who are paying. And again, I will always state, because that we are more than willing and want to work with those people who have delinquent assessments. We're more than happy to set up a payment schedule. We want to work with you. Okay.
Motion?
No.
May I speak on that, please?
Oh, we moved for the treasurer's report? Want me to move? Eileen, I'll move.
Usually we take a,
I'd like to speak on
usually the
that.
procedure is, we take a motion, then we let public
Yeah,
comments.
but right now, we're still on the treasurer's
Treasurer
report.
report.
So
So this is
this is all
normal
private,
Yes.
this is all private stuff. He was making extemporaneous comments about the
Yeah.
treasurer's report. So I'm moving to accept the treasurer's report. Do I?
A second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion. With regards to this,
There's no
Yeah,
public
there's no
comment
public
under these
comment.
first
but
5.
they can comment on these issues under public comments, and we see that it's under old business too, so we will take comments then.
Yes.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So,
All those opposed?
I need to speak at public comment.
All those abstain?
You didn't say the same thing. Again, the main illusion that we talked about.
Oh.
It looks like
No.
number A is, we've got it twice, treasurer's report?
Well, this is more of a detail. I actually went ahead a little bit, which was my mistake, in that the report was simply the report of where we stand upon things. When Debbie brought the letter, I elaborated on it. But the core question that I, as treasurer, took on when I assumed this position was the collection of delinquent assessments. As I had previously said, I think that is one of the most important things.
James, I'm gonna pause you 1 second. So we're moving on to old business review action item A.
Right.
Okay.
Yes.
So that's what I'm giving an accounting of here, how that is moving forward. So I was just kind of laying out the context of how I came to make these actions, because my reading of the CC&Rs and such, and the fundamental premise is that we have to have assessments in order to do effective business here in Locke. It's a beneficial situation that needs to be fairly applied, and that if somebody is not paying their assessments, there has to be consequences to it, because it affects everybody. Because we did have 4 property owners who were delinquent in their assessments, some by a substantial number. We have sent out letters according to our CC&Rs, following a very detailed list of what we need to do, how it needs to be done. And we sent those out under certified letter to those 4 individuals. We have not heard back from them in any way, shape, or form. The next process is that we will then file for liens on that, and then following that time frame after that, we will go into what is, according to our CC&Rs, non-judicial foreclosure. We don't want to do this again. We really want to have simply the assessments being paid, and if these property owners want to come to me at any time and work out a payment plan, we'd be more than willing to work with them. But we are going, yes?
Well, James, I just wanted to remind you that at the last meeting, Martha Esch Olson did respond to your letter and said that they were not paying their assessments because they didn't recognize the L.M.A. So of the 4, and you said no one responded. I don't know if
yes,
we did get a response.
we realized that after we sent out that first grouping of letters that we had not followed the procedures correctly, and that we had to send them out through certified mail. So essentially, it made that first mailing of those null and void. And that we then had to follow it up, essentially doing everything that we had done with the first mailing, but send it certified, because we then were following the details of the law to put this all into motion with a certified letter. We have not heard back anything from that certified letter.
Oh, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd just like to point out to the board and to the audience that this is a very simple board that runs the town, is what we do. We basically take care of the lights, keep the roads, pay the insurance. We manage a town of 80 people with 50 buildings, and we're all volunteer board. Some of us drive 40 miles one way to get here, and we do it for free. And we have CC&Rs and bylaws like that, and we do our best to follow them, and that's what we're in the process of doing, is making sure. We had depended on town managers in the past to enforce our CC&Rs, but what we're doing now is making sure that our CC&Rs are followed.
So there's no new action being taken, we're just proceeding.
Yes.
So
Without,
I just want to make sure I understand, James, that you're continuing on with the process that's outlined in the CC&Rs.
I'm simply following the process.
Lien properties that are not, for the towns that are not responding to the delinquent.
Exactly. And it's nothing personal, it's all procedural. I wish I didn't have to do this.
so no other discussion, I'll take public comment. Raise your hand if you'd like to. Ronnie,
I just have to say it, I find it very difficult, James, to believe this is not a personal thing. When you told me 2 years ago that you were going to try and get my house taken away from me and you were going to laugh when you did it. So I have a really hard time believing your sincerity. You're lacking veracity there. That's just off the cuff, in response to your off the cuff remark. Secondly, when you say that you take care of everything equally, I've had to pay to have trees trimmed around my house from the get-go. You guys don't rake leaves around in front of our house on the public access. There's very, very little you do up around our house that you pay that is supposed to be paid for. Several years ago, I was told by the at that time manager that the trees would be cut, the ones that are right over my house. It never happened. It's now sitting like this at a 90-degree angle, literally touching the roof of my house. I'm not willing to pay assessments when I don't get noticed when we have the once yearly cleanup that I used to organize and make sure personally, go from house to house, making sure that everyone knew what it was. I've not been noticed for years now. I find out after the fact or when I'm on my way to work, oh yeah, look, there's a dumpster there. It's going to be taken away in 2 days. Furthermore, when you say that I was noticed, I haven't received anything via certified mail. Please show me my signature on the signature card. You're not being truthful. You're not being honest. You do have preference as to how you do things. You don't take into account decisions that the entire town came together to make. We had 2 years of meetings before there was an L.M.A. And almost every decision there has been overturned by most of the people that are on this board.
Ronnie, you got about 20 more seconds.
Okay? So please be careful. I know that you're doing it for the camera. I know that you know it's going to go on YouTube. But please be careful about what you do say. Time?
All right, yep, thank you. Anybody else? Public comments? Okay, moving on.
Excuse me, one second.
Oh,
You're still gonna have public comment?
yes, it's right at the end. We'll have it at the end too.
Or if it's not about this issue, you can
No,
go.
no. I just, I
Yes.
don't wanna get omitted here.
Right, no.
Yes.
You have the hand, Brock.
Oh, I thought we, okay.
I informed the board several years ago that there is a tree growing through the nozzle of the fire hydrant in front of my property. And if there is a fire up on Levy Road, they're going to have to cut down the tree prior to them being able to attach a fire hose onto that.
Martha, this is lien enforcement.
Okay,
You can
you-
talk
well,
about trees,
you-
but could you do it
You
later?
got, your director, Mr. Matlow, was
Asking
talking,
that we
open it
maintain-
up. Okay, if you don't want me to speak, I'll be quiet. I know that you guys don't like me to
Speak to
speak.
this agenda, please.
Okay, the agenda issue being what? I'm kind of confused at this point.
Lien enforcement and foreclosure regarding collections on assessments.
All business, item A.
I asked in writing, Mr. Matlow, to your first letter to me, for my husband and myself to be able to have an executive, what do you call it, a closed session meeting, executive meeting, to discuss our non-payment of the assessments. And you guys discussed out loud and again have placed my name on a public agenda when you have litigation against me. I asked for an executive session and I haven't received any letter from you back letting me know when that will be.
Is that it, Martha?
If you guys want to give a response to that, that would be great.
So you're done.
I guess, let me form it in a question. Will I be getting will we be getting the executive session that we requested in writing from you?
This is public comments on the subject. It's
Yeah,
not a Q&A.
okay. Well, it would be nice if you would write us a letter and honor our request for an executive session on this matter on your agenda.
All right, thank you. Moving on to review action B, continued encroachment of decking on Esch Olson's common ground lot number 159.
Yes, Eileen, you asked that this be put on the agenda again because we had sent a letter which we sent out certified to the Olsons to Martha Esch Olson regarding the encroachment of her decking on common ground lot 159, and I think that was back in April. And we asked her to remedy it, but we haven't heard anything, and it hasn't been remedied. So,
Right, 30 days have passed and there has been no compliance with our request, so we're ready to consider our options.
Okay, good.
so
Public
we know
comment.
nothing's okay.
Any more discussion amongst the board before I take public comment? Public comments? Raise your hand and come on up, will you please?
Your letter was non-specific as to what my encroachment of lot 159 is. Approximately one-third of lot 159 has been used as a private backyard for Ms. Mendel and Mr. Ooms for the last 10 years. You guys put up a fence within the pedestrian easement at our property line on March 21st. March 21st, March 22nd, you removed the ADA access to 1265 Levy Road. I asked at your last meeting that you replace that so that handicapped people can access my property at 1265 Levy Road. Waiting for that to occur. I'm not sure why the board members are able to use a substantial portion of the common ground property that's owned by all 38 property owners in Locke as their private backyard and garden with a fence going through a pedestrian easement as indicated on the map. Keep looking at the clock.
Well, actually, you know, Bob, I don't think you need to limit. If we have this on the agenda, it's about, for your consideration, it's about this, that she has not responded by removing the decking. So I don't see why you need to be limited to 3 minutes. You could let us know, this could be an opportunity, you could let us know what you plan on doing about the decking. Will you be responding to this letter? Since you're here, you could tell us if you'll be responding to this letter in writing, or if you have any intention of trying to understand from the surveyor, you know, which part of the decking needs to be removed, or...
As I said, your letter was non-specific as to what my encroachment is.
We attached a map,
Yeah,
setting
it was-
specific corners.
It was not at all clear where my encroachment is.
Maybe you should ask your contractor as to what.
My contractor wasn't hired to do the
Hey,
surveyor.
board members, this is public comments.
Well, actually,
A discussion is
It's an open
amongst the board.
agenda, though.
I know, but it's not a Q&A, it's a discussion amongst the board members.
true.
Okay?
okay,
So-
well, I am disagreeing
We can-
with that.
Well, let me ask if, from board member to board member, was that clear in the letter that you sent, the boundaries?
Well, actually, it was sent by our chairman,
Uh-huh.
and
2 pages were attached to the letter.
I
It was
don't,
not at all
Martha,
clear.
it's a
I
discussion
don't
now.
have the whole, you know, I don't have the whole document here by the chairman, but there was no response, is what.
Okay, yeah.
Martha, if you're not clear, you should respond to that letter saying you're not
I'm
clear.
responding to you in person. Is that okay?
Well,
Or
think
do I
it-
need to write you letters?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
I'll write you a letter as well, but I would like it on the public record, maybe on YouTube, whatever. That I have asked for you to put back the Americans with Disabilities Act requirement to have a flat surface that connects my property. The pedestrian easement, the path of travel, as the county building inspector called it, was removed to that last commercial property on Main Street. You removed my ability to have handicapped people walk down to my property area. Excuse
Martha, you
me,
got 20 more seconds. Just
20 more
show-
seconds. Okay, this is the agenda item that you're asking my response on, yet you're gonna limit me to a 3-minute.
Yeah, but
and
you're
you're
not
gonna
talking
keep
about,
interrupting
you're
me.
not talking about.
Whatever,
that.
you know, just file another lawsuit against me, okay? And then we'll take it.
Okay,
We'll
thank
see.
you. Wait, let me finish, board. I want to finish to further discuss.
Okay.
So we are not
Sounds
in this debate.
Sure.
Anyone else for public comments?
On this item? No, go ahead.
So now, further discussion.
My question, the letter we sent, I believe, was surveyor had surveyed it and has found it's almost like 2 feet onto our property. Was that included? Was an attachment to the letter?
Yes.
I assume.
Yes.
Okay.
Eileen actually mailed it.
I see. Yeah.
For our chairman, Jane
Right.
Corrigan.
So, and we did hire a surveyor to go and mark it.
He has
As I
not
understand.
marked the
Martha,
final.
this is a discussion, you're interrupting the board,
Well,
please.
he hasn't made the final mark.
Once
He
again,
told
you're
me.
interrupting the board.
As I understand it, the decking needs to be removed for him to put his final marking, to put his monument there.
That is right.
Yeah, and we are, I'm sure, are we paying him to put monuments in?
Yes.
We are.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So he needs that moved. I mean, he needs
To
that.
complete the
Well,
survey.
To
yes,
complete the
He needs to show
survey.
me where.
He needs to move it. Okay.
He needs to show me where.
You're interrupting the meeting by just screaming out. We gave you your 3 minutes, please. All right, so no further actions taken here? We're moving on. Okay, we're going into new business. Safety concerns on Key Street, residents driving too fast.
Yeah, I kind of had to put this on there. I was approached by Daniel, who lives in the back with his young 2-year-old, I guess, who runs around, and it seems like on Key Street, there's particularly one person drives really fast, and he stopped them to tell him, and the guy was basically, well, you don't tell me what to do. Pretty arrogant guy, young guy, a relative of someone who lives in town. So we're trying to think of ways to mitigate the people driving fast down Key Street, because there's a lot of kids there. Justin has 3 that are under 6, and they play with another woman who just moved in with 2 kids, so we've got a lot of kids in town. And the Key Street, it was suggested that maybe we should make the Key Street and the back of town residents only, not allow people to drive around back there. It was just a suggestion. I haven't thought much about it, but we do own those roads, and years ago there was no road in the back. It was only Key Street. You couldn't drive back there years ago. There was a lawn, and then there was a garden. There was no one drove there. Once in a while Tommy King would drive out, but there wasn't actually a road that went all the way around the back of town.
So Russ, if I understand you right, this conflict occurred on Key Street going this way, or
Key
Key
Street.
Street coming around the back now?
No, Key Street, the first Key Street.
Going this way.
Yeah.
Could we put in like speed bumps, something a little?
I guess we could, yeah.
Could we start with a letter to all residents asking them, please slow down, many more children? And also, what I've seen is that there's a lot of dust right now.
Right.
That's just billowing into our residences on Key Street. So I would certainly recommend that we, reach out in the form of a letter to
Is there
residents. At least start there.
any speed limit posted? I don't even know.
No.
No, there isn't.
Well, we could post speed limit, huh?
Okay.
And send a letter.
All right, any further discussion amongst the board?
Would it be possible to also look into creating some sort of little bump? I mean, just to begin to look at the possibility by looking at cost or
I
whatever.
hate speed bumps.
I know.
All right.
Or we can get a sign that says kids at play too. That's
We
what
could do that.
Yes, kids at play.
Yeah.
But as you said, I mean, this is generally people that live here that are
Yeah,
going
it's
fast.
true.
Because they really know the street. If, when I see tourists come down, they're pretty slow.
They are.
So I think it's just kind of like a habit maybe, and if we send a friendly letter out, which I'd be happy to.
So do we need a motion?
help compose
Is it
it.
action do we need, or can we just write the
I
letter?
don't,
I'd like
I
to
don't
address
see
this.
that as a-
Like habits.
Yeah.
I don't have any motion to make on that, just, that's my suggestion, it's kind of under, just kind of like a common ground kind of issue, really.
Okay, we'll open it up for public comment and we'll talk about it.
All right, no further discussion amongst the board? Public comments, please. Ronnie, do you mind coming up, please?
Actually, something I addressed as a member of the CAC and as a founding member of the L.M.A. You know those potholes y'all filled? They were good. Leaving them as potholes was good because it made people slow down. Secondly, speed bumps, not such a great idea. Putting the sign up, great. I actually tried to get a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit sign for that and was voted down by pretty much everybody else. 15 miles an hour is as fast as you should go. Most of the time during the daytime, maybe 5. But the children that play, great idea, if you can do it. Historically, there used to be a sign that said residents only. And only residents were allowed to drive and park back there. And that changed 8 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments? Board, further discussion
Well,
before we, do we know, where was the original sign? Was it
it was
posted
a
for the
small
public?
sign,
Was it
residents
over by
only.
the rocks, kind of by Nings?
Exactly. So you
I think
wouldn't
I
go by
remember that.
names. Key was kind of open, I think. It was right there on the corner. I remember the
Do
sign.
you want the answer on that?
Sure.
Okay. The sign for lock and key was in that little island where the parking lot is, where the fire hydrant is. And there was a little sign there that said residents only. Then there was another one over on the, over by the fence at Nings that said residents only.
And make a sign that says 15 miles an hour. We'll make it ourselves. It's private property, it's a private road. We can put any sign we want on it.
Is it just miles per hour, or did we want to do kids that play?
Kids that play too.
Kids that play.
Yes.
Okay.
So should we make a kids, how many signs? Should we put a bunch of signs up? Kids
Well,
that play,
let's
miles
not
per
do a
hour?
bunch of signs.
Should we do residents only, kids that play, 15 miles an hour?
It's your motion.
That's
Give
my
us your motion.
We'll let's start with a letter.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion, we send a letter to all property owners, reminding them that there are children now in town and to go slowly on Key Street.
I'll second that.
So we got a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions?
Okay.
All right, moving on. We're under new business, review action. Key Street, the right of first refusal.
Yes, that's my department. 13932 Key Street. Yes, if you recall, at our last meeting, and possibly 2 previous meetings, I'm not sure, but I know at least at the last meeting, Mr. Black had informed us via email that he was selling the property. And then, but we realized his email did not indicate that he was actually under contract. So we took the information, but we did not respond to the, as a right of first refusal issue yet, because that wasn't clear. So I inquired, with him, and he said that he actually did have a contract, and he sent a follow-up email, which is in your packet, that says he's selling it for $140K, and that was dated March 31st, that last email from him. He also attached to that email the purchase agreement.
He hasn't bought it.
Yeah, so the purchase agreement is like tons of pages. I mean, it's a contract for sale. So unless we had, since we were prepared to waive our right of first refusal at the previous meeting, I don't know if this sale has gone through yet. I haven't heard, but it's kind of like we
Past April 30th.
Yeah, I haven't heard that it was contingent upon a mortgage, a loan. So I haven't heard anything new, but it is under contract, as far as I know.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion here before I take public comments?
Well, do we want to let it just go past in time, or do we want to make a motion and give them the,
Oh, and postcards, I did send, as soon as, in April, I sent out postcards
Oh,
to
good.
the former residents, ascendants and descendants, and interested parties list. So over 100 postcards went out with the contact information from Mr. Black, who was handling it.
No, the buyer is not one of those Locke residents or friends.
No, it's the original person that he was, as far as I knew, he was intending to sell it to. It's actually the current tenant in the front party.
Does the board have a consensus of whether we want to let the time go by, or do we want to act and, relinquish our first right of refusal? Does anybody have any
We
thoughts on
already
it?
relinquished it by non-action by April
We
30th,
just,
right?
right. So we'll let it time out.
Time out.
Yeah. Okay.
Further discussion before I take public comments? Public comments?
I have a question. Ms. Mendel, you said that you received his initial notification by email, and then you sent out the postcards, correct?
This
Maybe
is
it's-
public comments.
It's
I'm
just
gonna,
public comments.
I'm gonna have to
Okay.
listen to our chairman here.
Okay, I want to reiterate what you said, was that you received Mr. Black's notification of the pending sale by email, and then you sent out the postcards in April, you said. Thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you, Mark. To item D under new business, the sewer district request for access regarding the sewer pumps.
Yes, the association was contacted through the office phone number here by the manager of the Sacramento Sewer District for our area. He doesn't manage everything, but he's responsible for sending his men out here every month. And his name is Don Hoth, and he requested our help in communicating with property owners whose sewer pumps are either completely inaccessible or placed in areas that are covered, with all kinds of hazards. And in fact, he informed me that 3 years ago, he had one of his employees injured while trying to reach a pump grinder. They went through some, step or something like that, and this man hasn't been able to come back to work since. So he's very serious about getting the required access to these pumps. Now, if you understand, this is how all sewage from your house, any effluents, anything that leaves your house goes through that grinder. And they are responsible to come out here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're on call, and it's a system that has an alarm. They're notified remotely if anything goes wrong. They want to be able to come out here in pitch black and get at your unit and fix the problem before it backs up into your shower in your home, damages property, makes you ill. So,
I've been in contact with them too, because they left a notice at my door. Mainly, they want to work with people in town. They want everyone to look at their pumps. If there's a walkway, they want an easy hatch to get to it, nothing they have to unscrew. If there's plants or planters, they don't want to move it because of damage to some owner's property. So they just need real simple, easy access. And they're at the phase, with my discussion, that they're willing to work with us. They want to see some action on it because they need to get to them. But if they don't see some action, then they said they can get the county involved and have it removed. But they're not coming in to move people's property, because I know a lot of residents don't like the looks of them, but they don't want them covered with pots and things like that.
Is there a list of these egregious?
well, I walked the whole town with Don and two of his, men on ground. They come out here regularly, so.
So do
that
we
we're
want to
very
do
familiar. So
a
with
tailor-made, saying
Yeah, I
use
told
these
him
certain
that I
property
would-
owners? Right.
I told them I would help by identifying those property owners for them, and also that the L.M.A. would send out letters. There's about 12 or 13 issues, and that we would send out letters, letting people know how, what they need. And with Don's contact information, so that if they have any further questions, that they can reach him and he can explain it further if necessary. But basically, ideally, they would love it if they could back up their truck right up to the pump ground. But that's obviously not possible, with, some of them are in alleyways, some of them are, behind buildings and so forth. So we want to get them all clear for the sewer district. And so, he asked me that could the L.M.A. send something out to these, and I made a list of all the property owners who have access issues.
And if those certain property owners don't take any actions, they will then identify the sewers people, will identify them to the county, and the county will take action? Is that what I
Well,
understand?
he said if he can't get cooperation from the property owners, then he'll have to call code enforcement to help him get cooperation from the property owners. So he's like, we're the good guys here. We're trying to help you, make sure your sewers are gonna do what they need to do for you. So he said, please make it clear to people, we're the good guys, we're the friendly workers. He has to protect his employees and he has to give us proper service. So he's just wants to encourage everybody to please help him do that.
So what we're looking for here is the drafting of that letter.
I'll make
this
a motion.
Okay.
Make a
You
motion.
want to have
for-
public comment first? or-
No, I'd like to get a motion
Okay.
on the floor and then take public comments. I'd like to make a motion to draft 2 letters, one to property owners regarding getting access to their sewer, and one to the sewer district showing that we made a decision, sent a letter out that we're trying to work with.
Okay, I'll second that to get it on the floor.
Now I'll take public comments.
I don't know if we're one of the people or not. I know ours is very difficult to get just because of where they put it. We don't have it covered up. But the one thing we have asked them to do is just call us before they come. When they get to town, before they're on their way, give us a call. Because I've seen people try and go down hills that they shouldn't be going down. They need to go down the stairs, it's counterintuitive because the stairs aren't on the same side that the pump is. I don't know about anybody else, but I know we had a really hard time getting them to just call us. It's that easy. Call us. Hey, we're on our way. Or, hey, we're going to be there in an hour. Hey, we're in town. We're going to come over and look at the pump. I don't know if that would be helpful information for you guys to know, but I bet it'd be helpful for other people to know.
Further, thank you. Further discussion amongst the board?
You could enclose something with the letter saying that certain property owners have expressed the desire to be informed probably when they're coming down.
I
didn't know that, right?
I did mention that to the guy, and it's gonna be up to you to build a relationship that they call you. They really don't wanna call you because they said we could, because I said the same thing. I got 2 little screws and they can get to mine. But they really don't wanna call because they can come out at midnight or 1, and then if they don't get the call, you're gonna be mad. So I tried to express the same thing, but once again, maybe if you had that relationship where you were, you talk to him, you could talk to this guy, show that you made steps, and say, then maybe you'd have a shot at it, but I know they don't want to do that.
Right. Can I
But it
respond again?
Okay. I think it would. I see that it would be good just simply to include a comment like that into the letter, just simply to say, property owners really appreciate it when you can call ahead of time. It's not demanding that they do that, It's not setting up anything, but it's a simple passing along what was requested.
With that,
May I respond to that?
Shortly.
It would be safer for everybody if they did that. It's frightening to open your back door when there's a fence 6 feet from your back door and there's a guy standing there in the dark. It would be safer for everyone if they called.
All right, thank you. So we got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstain? Moving on.
Well, I did only, what I included was an email we received, actually, we didn't receive any notice of John Green's property being up for sale, but I saw that it was during the May 9th event. And that's the property at 13944 Main Street, the former River Road Art Gallery. I picked this up. So I contacted the real estate agent that's listed here, Silky Kirkwood. And she responded to my email to inform us that the property is up for sale. And I sent out the postcards. So that's been done.
What did they ask?
$599,000. That's taken care of. Other than that, that's all the correspondence I have.
No further discussion amongst the board? Communications? Public comments on communications? All right, we're moving on to public comments. So, come on down.
At the risk of going over old ground, I'm sitting here having a hard time with that, not personal. Mr. Ohms has, in front of witnesses, including a deputy sheriff, told my partner that he'd see him dead. Mr. Alexander, you hit him. He yelled at you and you hit him. It's really hard to think that there's nothing personal. Ms. Mendel, you've gone around and been heard by multiple people saying that my partner abuses women. So when you sit there and tell me that there's nothing personal, I get a little upset about that. Ms. Mel, I have nothing against you. Nothing for you, nothing against you, never had an issue with you. But there are people on this board that do have personal issues with me in mind. And be very careful about what you say in public, especially to a deputy sheriff. Thank you.
Thank you. Further public comments? Marcia, nobody
It's
else?
my time to,
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark.
I'm here to, first of all, I feel a little irresponsible not coming to more meetings because I'm one of the original owners and I've had that place forever. And I know exactly what you guys are going through, being volunteers and being on a board. It's very difficult and it takes a lot of time. And I know from experience, because I was the president of the Walnut Grove Owners Association, I'm on a board now in Sacramento. But a few things that I would like to maybe say to everybody here and take it for what it is. And I'm not here to attack anybody here. But what I have found out from experience is that you need somebody that knows what they're doing to take all the minutes, do it properly, follow these CC&Rs by the law, because you'll find out in the long run that if you don't, you're going to be in some big trouble. Our association in Sacramento, we have more people than we have here. We meet twice a month, and we pay a lady that knows more than our attorney does, and we pay her about $1,200 a month. You might want to think about doing something like that. delinquencies have gotten out of the way, or they have gotten to where they are because they were never enforced to begin with. You don't mess around with delinquencies, because when you do, you create a bigger problem than you have now. These are things that I've heard, over the last couple of years, go to the meeting, this and that. I said, I'm too busy to go to the meetings. The directors, you have a quorum tonight, but how many people are actually on the board? Are there 13 members on the board?
It's public comments.
Huh?
Well, this is just for public comments,
Okay.
not for Q&A.
Yeah, okay, no problem. I'm just.
We hear you.
I personally, I think you have way too many directors. You might want to think about reducing that amount. And when a property comes up for sale, and I've heard it a couple times tonight, but the so-called list of potential buyers. What is that list consist of? Because we never had the right of first refusal for this town of Locke, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but was developed from our CC&Rs in Walnut Grove. And it was a way to try to keep the community the way it was. We never had a list of people that we thought might be interested in buying the property, but it was a way for us to, if we could buy the property and control the property, rather than selling it to somebody that says they were gonna live there and put a business, and then before you know it, they've got 14 tenants in there with 22 cars. That was our main reason for having first right of refusal. And other than that, I commend you guys, because I know it's not a fun job. And if anybody wants to give me a call in regards to how you might solve some of your problems, I'd be more than happy to help you guys.
All right. Thank you.
You bet.
Anybody else? All right, moving on to announcements. Any announcements?
I'm a blank, I can't think of it.
Public, any announcements? All right, I'll make a motion for adjournment.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Abstained? Meeting adjourned at 8:17.
17.